Good evening, everybody. Tonight we're talking about leadership and emotional prosperity. Emotional prosperity is in leadership. It's the ability for you to understand and to manage your emotions, as well as to recognize the emotional situation of the other members of your team, those people around you. The most effective leaders have one thing in common, I found out just by observing them, and it's really one crucial way they have. They all have a high degree of what you come to understand as emotional prosperity. They seem to all have that. It is not that they don't have the skill and they don't have high IQ, but you see, that is what gets them the job, the skills and the high IQ. But emotional prosperity is what gets them to become leaders. A leader needs to have emotional prosperity. A leader needs to know that. Emotional prosperity, guys, is something that is so amazing. It is self-awareness. In order to improve emotional prosperity, it is important to understand that self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship management is important. Because as a leader, you cannot fool around with that stuff. So, when I said I was going to do this on leadership and emotional and the 5 pillars of prosperity, I said, oh my God, somebody is going to tell me I was crazy. But a leader has to be so self-aware. That is at the core of everything. It describes your ability not only to understand your strengths and your weaknesses, but to recognize emotions and the effect that they have on other members of the team. The leader is the guy that sees the big picture. The leader cannot be wishy-washy. The leader cannot be weak. The leader cannot not be self-aware. A self-aware leader is an asset to the company. But because that person, that self-aware leader, has to work with people that are sometimes not self-aware, and they have to draw out from them and say, you know what, you need to be self-aware. You need to know what is your strength. Where are your strengths and your weaknesses? What was your reaction to this situation here? That is self-awareness. And then a leader needs to understand self-management. Self-management, refers to the ability. They have to have this ability to manage their emotions. A leader has to manage their emotion. It is important because their reaction, their emotion is what is going to affect the team. Their emotion affects the team. They cannot let that, okay, we didn't meet our numbers, and the leader is flying off the handle, not saying to the others, listen, we didn't meet our numbers. The outlook is not positive at all. Things are just not going the right way. But let us stay focused. We still have an ability. We still have another quarter. We still have another month. Leaders who lack self-management cannot help their team. They can't. Self-management in a leader is crucial. It is so important for the leader to have self-management, because without that, they are not able to help a team. A leader cannot be weak. A leader has to have weaknesses, have strength, they know them, but they cannot let them take them over. And a leader, for example, cannot just walk in the room and react and have a harder time keeping themselves and their impulses in check. A leader cannot do that. A leader cannot do that. So the reaction tends to be automatic for these leaders. They need to polish them. They have to have them in tune. The more in tune you are with your emotional prosperity, the better a leader you can be. It's easier for you. It makes the transition of how you react and how you respond a lot better. That's what it does. So if you have a leader that as soon as something happens, or the boss, which is supposed to be the leader, right? and something happened, they fly over the handle, and everybody sitting in their seat and shaking their knees and wondering when is that ball going to drop on somebody's head, and the leader is, come on. What do you think that leader is doing to that team? That team is looking and saying, oh my God, if he is acting like that, things must be really bad. Our job is on the line. And sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's not that bad, but that the leader does not have that self-management skill. If you cannot manage your emotions as a leader, how are you going to pull back on those that are beneath you and really cannot have self-awareness and self-management skill? That's why you are the leader. That's why you are at the top. Your job is to keep the team together. Your job is like when they're racing the dogs on the Canadian ice. And you notice that the leader, there is one dog leading, and although they have the marshal behind, they have to keep those dogs together. That one dog is the leader. He cannot be a dog that will run away from the team if he sees a squirrel. It has to be a specifically well-trained dog. So the dog has to have skills that get it. So they look at the dog, they'll examine the dog at the beginning and say, yes, he has the skill for us to train him to be the leader of the pack. We cannot just throw him there and say, well, he's good enough. But what about his self-awareness and his self-management? Can he control his urges? Is he going to chase a squirrel while they're trying to match and go, and there's like 10 other dogs behind him? Really? Look at the Canada geese. There is always one that is in that triangle, one that is the leader. They do change places, but the leader always is at the front. The leader knows when I'm tired, I need to pull back. Self-awareness, self-management, managing your skill. A leader needs vacation. You cannot be a leader and you work and you work and you work and you have no free time to regroup. You have no free time to relax. So that is why leadership and emotional prosperity is huge, 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 huge. People have to understand that leadership and emotional prosperity, a leader that does not have self-awareness cannot be in the right position to really manage a team, to lead that team to success. That leader now that has no self-management skill, and the stocks didn't do well, the numbers are down, production is not going that way, there was stuff that we lost and stuff that didn't do well, and that leader is bursting and having a nervous breakdown in front of the team. What message is that? What message is that leader sending? That's why leadership and emotional prosperity has to go together. Self-management refers to the ability to manage your emotions, particularly when things are not going right, and to maintain a positive outlook when things are not going right at all, and say, you know guys, hold on. This is only quarter number 1. We have 3 more quarters in the year. Let us put our heads together. What can we do that this from now on that we didn't do 3 months ago? Leaders who lack self-management tend to lose their cool. They react, and when they react, that does not help the team. That makes the team feel weak, keeping their impulses in check. They cannot do that. So you have heard it said, oh, he's a horrible leader. He just, he's doing this, he's doing that. He can't manage his emotions. Whether his emotions is not to do with the job, but his personal life, and it comes into the job. So a leader has to have some skills that are just in them. A born leader. That's why they will look at what they do when they train a dog, a sniffing dog. They choose a particular dog. When they choose a dog to work with the blind, they choose a particular dog. They look for skills. And they look at if people happen to brush past that dog, it doesn't bite them. So these are the things you have to do. And then, of course, social awareness. Oh, wow. A leader without social awareness is a killer of a team. A leader is supposed to walk in a room and read the energy of the room without speaking. That leader has to come in and absorb the essence of the energy of that room. That leader cannot just come in and be like everybody else. He doesn't have to show off. But when he walks into the room, the energy of the room has to be felt by that leader. He is the one that is going to dictate how this team reacts in this social setting. If he is blind, deaf, and dumb, not because he's blind, deaf, and dumb, but if he's acting like no. A leader is always on stage. A leader is an actor. A leader has to show his best. A leader does not cry in public. A leader does not lose their cool in public. A leader walks into a social environment and the leader knows exactly what is going on. The leader can read the faces of the people in the room, whether it's their team or other people in the room. These are the qualities of a leader. Social management and awareness is important. A leader should realize when you're reacting with people, your team members, how far you can go, what you can say. Be socially aware. Watch your language, watch your actions. Oh my God, we know what's happening these days. Things that people did 30 years ago, it's like they are resurrecting again from the dead and they're putting them out of their jobs and some of them are going to jail standing up. How can you be a leader if you're running a meeting and you find this is the time you need to expose yourself? What kind of leader are you going to be? How can you be a leader and you have to be touching people? Social awareness. Leaders have to know when to pull back, when to be observant, when to look at the room and say, you know what? I need to study these players in this room. They might be your peers and your competitors. They use a word that always fascinated me. And they would tell us we're going to... I couldn't take it. I hate saying it to you guys tonight, but I need to say, they'll say, Tessa-Marie, we're going to a co-mingle. I said, what is a co-mingle? Mingle is mingle. We don't have to co-it into anything. Let's just go mingle with these people. But nowadays, it's a co-mingle. Okay, we go co-mingle. And I mean, why do we need to add co to the word mingle? Get a dictionary, people. Be aware of what you're saying. Because somebody is using the word, that doesn't mean you have to jump and use it too. Choose what you do. So be socially aware. How you react. Walk in the room and read the room. We were taught to read the room at the school by not moving our head. They used to say, let your eyes do the work. So your eye would do the work. Your eye would take them in and you were supposed to just move your eye. Because when you walk into a social environment, you do not stomp in. When you get in, you pause and you look and you check it out. And that is how. So you're never uncomfortable. You pick your spot. Social awareness. That's what a leader do. That's what a leader has to do. So, you have to learn to manage your emotion, whether that means taking a walk. As a leader, the team is not doing what they're supposed to do. You have to collect yourself. You have to breathe and watch your responses. It's important to remember to breathe and collect yourself and to do whatever it takes to manage your emotion. You are the leader of the group. Whether that means taking a walk and going for a walk or calling a friend so that you can more appropriately respond to the situation. And you can intentionally have an action to it. But that thing about just being a leader and thinking it's the paycheck that makes you a leader, the paycheck is a symptom of you being a leader. There are many bigger things that makes the leader. Relationship management is another quality a leader must have. That relationship management refers to your ability to coach and mentor others and resolve conflicts between your team effectively. Some prefer to avoid conflict, but it's important to address them, to properly address them. And these issues have to be settled. You know, research shows that if you do not touch these conflicts and put them where they are supposed to be, they come back and cause you grief. So, as a leader, emotional prosperity and leadership, or leadership, goes hand in hand with emotional prosperity. You cannot be a leader if you are not self-aware, if you do not have self-management, emotional skills, social awareness, and the last, relationship management. How are you coaching the two fighting people at the desk that are staring at each other in the face? How, as a leader, what are you doing as a leader to do that? So your emotion as a leader has to be on point. That is why a leader needs to understand working 52 weeks of the year without a vacation is not going to help your emotional prosperity at all. A leader has to make sure emotionally they know how to delegate. They have to be self-aware. I am sick, I'm tired, I need a break, I need vacation. Know your weaknesses and know your strength, because that is how you're able to recognize it in others and train others to become the leader to replace you one day. A leader is not afraid of training others to be better than them. A leader hires people that are more qualified than them. A real leader is not afraid to give somebody who has the brain or the ability or the skills or the IQ they do not have, and hire them to do the things they are not good at doing. That's what a leader does. Henry Ford showed it to us. Remember when all the big wigs were questioning him and asked him all these questions, and he let them have their field. He didn't interrupt them. He let them question him, and he said, okay. He said, I do not have to answer any of these questions, because on my desk I have an instrument that if I press one of these buttons, somebody at the other end knows the answer to these questions, and they will give it to me and I can give it to you. There are people that know what to do, and I hire them to do what I am not able to do. My position as a leader is to recognize the qualities in my team and use them to the highest ability of the company and make the company successful and make my team successful at the time. He had emotional prosperity. He had self-awareness. He knew his weaknesses. He knew how to manage himself. When they were putting at him 10, 12 people questioning one man that only had grade 4 education, he was able to remain calm and cool. His IQ might have gotten him into the position he was as a man that wanted to do better. And that's all he had. But he didn't have the education they had. And they thought if they used big words and told him things and asked him all these wonderful questions, that they would show that he was illiterate. And he knew that. He was aware, self-aware. And he had self-management because he kept his calm. He let them have their full. And then he said, listen, on the other side of this instrument, there's people that will answer each and every one of these questions you're asking me. Why should I clog my mind with it? As a leader, I need to find out better things to do for my company. Social awareness. It has become the poster child of every man, woman that has touched another human being inappropriately, socially, thinking it's okay to tap you here or tap you over there. No, they're paying the price. So a true leader should always say, I am the leader. Why am I touching this person this way? How can I do that? What is my relationship management skill telling me? This is not appropriate. But sometimes we let leadership go to our head, and our head gets so big that we are not socially aware. Because we figure our IQ and our skills is enough, and our ability to convince others to do things is enough. It is not enough. We have to have relationship management. How do you manage yourself with the other members of the team? No team, no success. No team, no success. When you look at those dogs that are dashing and mashing in the snow, going, and then one man is there, the dogs are pulling him, but there's a leader dog. When you look at the Canada geese, it forms a V. There's a leader goose up there. You know, you have to have a leader, and the leader has to know its place. A leader has to take a rest. That's why the Canada geese exchange places. Who taught them that? They didn't go to Harvard to learn that. They're animals. We don't consider them, but look at them again. I will say this again and again and again. If you want to know how to live your life, study nature. Just look at the life around you, nature around you. Nature is the greatest teacher. All what we learn in school gets us into the door of the job. When we get there, there is other skills and talents we need, and some of them are not from a book. They're not from a university. They're not from Harvard or Yale or U of T or Cambridge or Oxford. No, they are not. Self-awareness is the ability to recognize you have strengths and weaknesses. Self-management is to be able to control yourself when the company is not doing well. You are the leader. Take your place. Do not collapse in front of the team, because guess what message you're sending? That you are weak. You're not capable. Stress throws you into a tizzy. You think you're going to get respect in that? That's why emotional prosperity and leadership. You want to be a leader? You want to lead your team to success? Be self-aware. Manage yourself, self-management. Be socially aware. And relationship management of the team, or even your personal relationship, because 99.9% of the time they said we take it from home and we bring it to work, and that's all you hear. How many times, whether you're working on a line or whether you're working in an office, wherever you're working, how many times you hear this person talking about their relationship at home and their children, their mother, their father, their wife, their husband, and they drag it to work. And some of them are leaders. They're the leader of the pack. And the leader of the pack is not doing it right. So when people are looking at the 5 pillars of prosperity, when I tell you guys, when I say to you, the 5 pillars of prosperity are the thing you need to live a successful life, I am not joking. This is not a joke. This is something I have given a lot of thought and a lot of care and a lot of observation. These are things I tried on myself. These are things I used myself. It didn't come from a book. It came from me, inside of me. It came from observation of watching others that was trying their best, but there were these other little things. It's like the wheel, the cogs weren't fitting together. And I observed it and I taught them how to get them going. The 5 pillars of prosperity is no joke. If you want to be successful, if you want to live a fulfilled life, you need to take those 5 pillars seriously. You know for sure you cannot function with 4 fingers on any of your hands. And you know for sure that if you only have 4 toes working, you're going to be off balance and fall. Yet we don't realize how important those 5 toes are and those 5 fingers are until we lose them. That's the same thing. If emotional prosperity is weak, well, you think the other pillars can pick up the slack? They'll complain, they'll be overworked, and they too will crash. So if you want to be a leader, learn the 4 pillars, 5 pillars of prosperity, hold them tight. Realize they will help you live a fulfilled life, and I know how. Because I have gone through them. I have used them to give me the life I choose to have. A life where you can have a home of your choice. It takes time. It does not happen overnight. A life, if you want to lose weight, it took you years to gain the weight. You're not going to use it overnight. A life, if you want to go to school and learn something, It will take you years. You're not going to learn to be a lawyer, doctor, candlestick maker in one sitting, or a baker in one sitting. No, you're not. A life where you have a choice of what you drive or what you ride on. If you do not want to drive a car, then you can take the bus. It's fun taking the bus. Ding dong, he must stop once you pull that bell. But you do not have to walk if you choose not to. A life where you can choose to go on a vacation, or 1 or 2 or 3. The pillars will help you, because those pillars, when they're healthy, you must succeed. A life when you get to be a certain age, you do not have to worry about spending a little more on something a little better. A life when you no longer can cut the grass at that home you bought 40 years ago. You can hire someone to come and cut the grass and have the money ready, waiting to hand it to them. That's what a 5 pillars of prosperity will give you, a fulfilled life. A life where you can do whatever you want, but you cannot wait until the bell has rung. You cannot wait until the bell is ringing, ding dong, ding dong. No, you must start the journey to prepare now. You have to set your foot on the journey of making sure your 5 pillars of prosperity are prosperous. That is your job. And emotionally, as a leader, you need self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. We all know of all the crash and burn. People that went and they got to the top of a ladder, and they're at the top and they're the leader of the this and the leader of the that. And 30 years ago, they did something that was socially unacceptable, or they could not manage their relationship with others properly. And today they have crashed and burned. It is not going to be remembered, all the wonderful things that they did. It's never going to be remembered. Shakespeare said it best. The evil that men do, live after them, and the good get buried with their bones. He said it best. So when we're socially unaware and our relationship management is weak and our self-management has gone to the dogs, and we're self-awareness have left the city, all they're going to remember is all the bad things we did. All the small things, all the great grand things that we did will be covered by everything that was not acceptable. So to be a leader is not just knowing the technical or the academic or the IQ of a genius. It's not enough. It's no longer enough. You have to be better than that. You have to know to push, and you have to know when to take a break, and you have to know who you are. And if you have a weakness, you need to work on it. And if you have a skill, you need to polish it and share it. So sending you light and joy on this fabulous Monday night. I hope you enjoy this. If you do, DM me. If you got something out of it, DM me. If you love something in particular, send me a note. I like to know when I touch you. Like I use you. You know why? Because every time I stand here, I am looking to just affect one. My job is to just you. That's what I come here to do. You that got something out of it tonight. You the one that got something tonight. When there is 100 of you, it's still a you. One. That's all I'm supposed to impact. One person twice a day. Wow. Can you imagine that? 365 days in the year. And I have the platform and the ability to come here and to deliver all I have and affect 2 people a day. That is like 800 people in a year. Wow. So anyway, thank you so much.